I want to talk to you a little bit in this video about novels written in Latin, and I'm not referring to novels written in Roman times, but what are called Neo-Latin novels. These are novels that were written starting in the early 1600s and right on through to the 1900s, written in Latin as an art form. In fact, the whole idea of the novel, we could almost argue, was given birth to by the Greeks and then the Romans in some form, and then it was reborn and reinvented by the Latin writers of the Renaissance. Now, it's a very interesting situation that we're in, because we don't even have a critical bibliography of the novels written in the Renaissance through to the Victorian period. We don't actually know what all these novels are. And as Google is going through and digitizing the libraries of the world, scholars are actually coming across works that haven't seen the light of day for centuries, that no one knows about, no one has read. And even the books that we do know about are barely read. There are very few people around who have the skill, firstly, to read them. And one reason why I'm producing the material on YouTube, etc., is to build up, hopefully, a new cohort, or to help people who want to become fluent in the wide range of vocabulary needed to read a very wide range of texts, and not just the narrow literature that's come down to us from the Romans themselves. There was a symposium held at the Ludwig Boltzmann Institute last year called the Neo-Latin Novel in Its Time. And as they pointed out there in the preamble, is that it's a wide open field. So if you want to go into academia, the Latin novel is an area where, well, the paths are untrodden and there's lots of ground and you won't be treading on anybody's feet. Firstly, a critical bibliography doesn't exist. A list of novels doesn't exist in any way that's reliable. For example, Walter Charlton, 1659, wrote a novel called Matrona Epesia. Ludwig Prasch, 1685, wrote Psyche Cretica. And then there are a number of very famous novels by John Berkeley, English author, first 1603, Euphormionis Lucinii Satyricon, and various others. We could count Thomas More's Utopia as a work of fiction, but it's not, strictly speaking, a novel. And there are a great many others of this nature. There are even works of science fiction and polemics and satires, lots of things. And of course then there are the translations. We're not going to go into those here, but there's a large literature of works that were translated into Latin as well. So the novel is an area that's very interesting, and it's very interesting if you're trying to reach a high level of fluency, because you need to read lots of continuous text, and reading novels, of course, is a good way to expose yourself in an entertaining way to large amounts of Latin that's not particularly difficult. And generally speaking, the prose writing of the Renaissance is more accessible to us than some of the material written by the Romans themselves. So that's where we have it. And if you're interested, on Google Books there's a book called The Neo-Latin Novel in Context, and you can look at that. Sections of it are readable on Google as preview. Apart from that, there isn't an enormous amount of information about these books. So, comments welcome. Bye.